Amber Sheldon.
Hi, I am Merve Tapınç.
Welcome to Symposium. So we've decided to name our show Symposium because back in ancient Greece, the aristocratic men would have these parties called symposia, and it would be where fancy men would gather around in a room with couches and chat about topics like philosophy, and they'd have entertainers come and they'd drink wine. So we thought it was an appropriate name for our show because we want to have a symposium for women who are not aristocratic, and our background is based on our favorite wine bottle. So we're not drinking wine, but it's sort of infused in the spirit of our aesthetic.
Yes.
So, since we've brought up the symposium, we're going to talk about philosophy of love today because that is the topic of this Platonic dialogue. We're not going to talk about this dialogue, but we thought philosophy of love would be an appropriate sort of starting place. We're going to start off with two really essential, basic concepts in the philosophy of love, and they're going to be the appraisal view and the bestowal view of love. Now, the appraisal view is the view that you love somebody for their qualities, for a collection of qualities that you have appraised them as having, and you love them because of these qualities. So let's say person is P and the list of qualities is Q. So you love P because you love Q. But then we hit the problem of what is the object of your love? Do you really love P if Q is the reason that you love P? It seems like P is incidental to the Q that is actually the object of your love, which is strange because we often find ourselves loving a person and not just thinking, oh, I love a collection of qualities. So that's one problem. And another problem is people that we love can change over time. And also, other people can manifest the same properties of our lover. So how is love consistent with the same person if maybe their qualities change as they mature? Or what if someone else had the same qualities as that person? Are you immediately going to start loving them too? Especially to the same extent as you love the person you claim to love? So I'm going to call this the Tinder view of love, because you get a list of different qualities and things that the person likes, and then you're supposed to choose them based on those. And then we have the bestowal view of love, which is you bestow value upon the beloved. You love somebody as valuable in themselves, and then the properties that they have come to be valuable to you insofar as they are a part of that person upon whom you've bestowed your love. So the problem with this one is that it seems like the person is chosen arbitrarily to be loved by you because there aren't reasons or properties or anything that justifies your loving them. So what is going to stop you from just not loving them one day, or what's going to stop you from just falling in love with somebody else suddenly if there's not any sort of basis for your loving? So there's the appraisal view and the bestowal view, but I think you have some other thoughts on love.
So let me first say a bit about what I find problematic in the bestowal view, especially because the bestowal view tends to assume that we should love people just for the sake of who they are, not because of their attributes or other features, but simply because of who they are in themselves, But I find that there is something odd and problematic about this view, partly because it doesn't capture the phenomenon of love that much. At least like in many cases of love, we love the person because they allow us to grow beyond our current selves. They aspire us to become a better version of ourselves, to become more moral or to become more virtuous. And yeah, in fact, it would be a bit problematic if, like, say that somebody is discontent with themselves. They know that they have lots of like vice, they have a lot to improve in their character, and now they see that there is a person who just love their bad character because just they love them for who they are. That is problematic because like you cannot love somebody maybe who loves something bad in a paradoxical way. So I think we also love people when they aspire us to become a better version of ourselves. It is actually something that comes up in Agnes Kaller talks about this when she talks about her new relationship. Yeah, she says that like the reason that she didn't want to stay in her like back then relationship was because she didn't feel she was completely content with herself. But she found that aspirational love in the new love. Yeah, so there's this aspirational value that is not captured either by the bestowal view or the qualities view. So they are not exhaustive.
I think I take a issue with that view still, because if you're loving somebody because of the kind of person or the kind of improvements you can make to yourself through loving them, it seems like then love is a very selfish sort of emotion. It lacks this sort of altruism and generosity, sort of the virtues we associate with giving our love to another person.
Yeah, interesting. I see your point, but it depends on what kind of a value we want to achieve by aspiring. Because like two people could aspire to become a better version of ourselves. They want to build a life together, which is in itself valuable. So it doesn't have to be completely self-interested, because you are aspiring to become a different kind of entity together by aspiring to become a different version of yourself. And if we accept this idea, then I mean you might still say that, well, this is still self-interested, like you want the relationship because of the future relationship that will provide for you. So you could say that it is self-interested. But I think that's a problem for most moral theories. Like we could apply the Euthyphro problem to this one too. Like, do we really value the aspirational relationship for the sake of aspirational relationship, or do we value it because of our self-interest? So I think that's a problem for most moral views. It's not a specific problem for the aspirational view.
That's true. Yeah, when we like really reduce it down, like things like honesty are like good because, or could be considered to be good because we get somebody that will tell us the truth and we'll spend time with them and they won't lie to us. Like there are ways that different virtues are just in a way self-serving. If this is a problem that we have with a lot of virtues, like when we reduce them down to some sort of even evolutionary function that they provide us that makes us like them, then love seems to be something vicious. And I think this is a problem because we generally don't want to conceive of love as something that is selfish or a vice, or at least that's not how the phenomenon is experienced.
Yes. Well, it doesn't have to be vicious, but I agree with you that it might still be some self-interested elements in aspirational love. Yeah, but I'm not sure why this has to be problematic. Maybe the problematic idea is this implicit assumption that love has to be unconditionally true or valid in all circumstances. Like you shouldn't get anything out of it. You should purely love that person. So I think that assumption needs to be questioned as well, rather than saying that, oh, aspirational view doesn't capture what we understand from love because it has some self-interested element. It might have some self-interested element, but I think still, it is not purely self-interested. We still get something out of it. So it is self-interested in a good way. Like we could say that there are some things that are self-interested in a bad way, and there are some, you could say that whenever you contribute to the charity, there is some self-interest, but it is still a better kind of self-interest, even though we accept that there is some self-interest. But yeah, so aspirational view is not. It doesn't have to be actually also the only reason or the actual reason that we love others. There might be also a kind of, let's say, relational view where you like the person because of the relationships that they help you form. For example, you might like someone because of your friends community, not purely because of their friends community, but because of the relationship you built together with others over the years. And we could even think of polyamorous relationships in that sense. We love people because of the relations we share with others. So
I find this unconvincing as well, though, because it has this selfish element, like, oh, I just like this person because of the relationships it's allowed me to navigate.
That person helps you maintain all other valuable relationships in themselves as well. So we don't, I see where you're coming from, of course. If you just love the person because of the friends they have, yeah, that would be definitely problematic. But if they help you to value many relationships, like in themselves, you might value all the relationships, and that person will help you build or develop other relationships as well, then you would love that person for that reason as well. Not because of their qualities, not because of completely who they are or because of the aspirational value they have, but because of the relationship you both together build.
Loving them for the relationship you build together with just this person or with the entire collective?
Because that person is also necessarily an important part of that relation. You cannot. It might also be the case that you love that person more than the others.
But then you're loving the relationships and you're not loving somebody.
Yeah, but this is a problem for the qualities view as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it is just it has this misleading assumption that we should love the person only for who they are. You might love the person plus the qualities they have, plus the relations they have, plus the aspirations that they allow you to have. None of these have to completely exclude the fact that you love that person as well. Although, yeah, it is the outcome of the theory that you are not loving them for the sake of who they are. But I think that is the very assumption that needs to be questioned.
Yeah, I really like this point you brought out about how we could kind of adopt the qualities view, but that doesn't preclude some sort of bestowal aspect or like loving somebody for themselves. It doesn't mean that we can't love somebody in themselves and love their qualities, love them for their qualities. It could be like a complex of some sort of compatibilist,
Exactly.
love compatibilism,
Yes, exactly.
of like various, not just reasons, not just qualities, but like experiences that you enjoy about the love, maybe. All right. Well, I guess we've exhausted a few options here about some philosophical views of love. So we're going to ask you, are you in love? And what do you think of love? What do you think is love? Why do you love the people that you love?
Thanks for watching us.
Bye.